Okay, so as the match cycle is approaching us, I wanted to give the people who plan to participate in this match cycle a rough idea of what areas and states are the most welcoming to visa requiring IMGs so that you can focus your program hunting on those areas and make your program list more effective. At the end of this video, I'll also discuss some of the areas that are not so IMG friendly so that there's no point in applying to those areas and you should generally avoid applying in the hospitals in those areas and states. So let's look at some of the most IMG friendly areas and states in the USA. First of all, we have the big cities, which include New York City, Chicago, which is a favorite city of mine, Philadelphia, Boston, Baltimore, Washington DC to some extent as well. Almost 50 to 60% of the IMGs match in these big cities. The reason is that since these are huge urban centers, the cost of living is too high. For example, the apartment rent in New York is so huge that almost two-thirds of your salary as a resident will go into paying the rent. Also, because these urban centers have huge populations, the patient load in the hospitals is high and you'll have a really hectic routine. Because of these reasons, the American grads usually avoid training in the big cities, and therefore, the residency spots in the mentioned big cities are easily available to the IMGs. The NYC programs, especially, are very welcoming to the IMGs. Before we move on to our next areas, can you quickly hit the like button and subscribe to the channel while you're at it? Because I plan to share my program list soon. Next, we have the East Coast states, which include New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Pennsylvania, if you include it in the East Coast, although it's in the Appalachia. These states are IMG friendly because they have a shortage of doctors, especially in their rural areas, and their taxes and cost of living is also high as compared to the other American states. Add harsh winters into the mix and you can see why these states have such huge number of IMGs. I highly recommend you to look up these states very carefully and select all the IMG friendly programs while making your list. Next we have the Midwest region. Now this is my favorite region in all of the US and this is where I matched myself. The Midwest states include Illinois, Michigan where I matched, Wisconsin and Ohio, etc. Midwest is not very densely populated and it's mostly a rural area. The traffic is very light, so you can commute anywhere in no time. Also, the people are generally nicer and more polite as compared to, let's say, New York City. The Midwest states are IMG friendly because they have very harsh winters and they're also mostly rural areas and there's not much to do here. Personally, I love the perfect silence and serenity of the Midwest, but you may or may not like it. So these cities and states are the most friendly for the IMGs. We also have a few southern states that take IMGs to some extent. These include West Virginia, Georgia, and Louisiana. Now let's take a look at some areas and states which are not so IMG friendly. Okay, so trust me, it will all make sense when I upload the video regarding the program list and I'll share my program list with you. All of this will make sense. Previously, big southern states like Florida and Texas also used to accept lots of visa requiring doctors, but they're not that IMG friendly anymore. Especially, I want you to be really careful about Florida, where the program websites will make you think that they sponsor visa, but in reality, they only take green card holders or US citizens. Been there, done that. So I advise you to be really careful about applying to the programs in Florida. Also, the west coast of the US is off limits for IMGs. It includes states like California, Washington, and Nevada, and generally speaking, all US grads tend to move to these states because of their good weather and job market. So generally avoid these states because they're not very IMG friendly. So to summarize, for making your program list, big cities like NYC and Chicago are super IMG friendly. East Coast states like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Massachusetts are also very IMG friendly. Midwest states, including Illinois, Michigan, and Ohio, are also very good states for IMGs. And finally, avoid all of the West Coast states and a few southern states like Florida and Texas while making your program list, and be very careful about Florida. So, if I get some time, I'll upload my program list on the channel and also the methods I use to make it. So, make sure you keep the notification bell on. That's it for today, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.